Welcome to the 23rd video in the Secrets to Drawing video course brought to you by thevirtualinstructor.com. In this video, we're going to continue our look at facial features by taking a look at the nose and the mouth. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to begin with the nose, and I'm going to start by just loosely sketching out the bottom portion of the nose. At the beginning stages of my drawing, I'm just planning out the shape of the nose. I'm using several lines to do this. They're all very light lines though. Once I have an idea of where my nose is going to be and the overall shape of the nose, I can begin to define the nostril. Now everybody's nose is different, so you'll have to look at the lines that exist on the nose that you're drawing. But usually there are 4 distinct lines that can be picked out to draw the nose. You can see the first line that I've drawn here, which would be the inside portion of the nostril, and then the second line, which would be the outside portion of the nostril. Then I'll repeat the same thing on the opposite side, keeping in mind that no one is actually perfectly symmetrical, so it's okay if your lines are slightly different. Now that we've got our 4 lines drawn, we can start to add value. In fact, the rest of our drawing is going to be about value. Remember, value is the darkness or lightness of a color. Since we're using graphite here, we're going to adjust the darks and lights that we put on our paper to create the illusion of the form of the nose. A good thing to keep in mind that in order to create the illusion of an object protruding, in this case our nose, those areas are typically lighter. Areas that recede are typically darker because less light can get to them. So any areas that we want to make receding, we're going to make darker in value, and any areas we want to make look like they're protruding, we're going to make them lighter in value. And of course we need to be thinking about our light source as well. In this case, my light source is coming from the upper left-hand corner. That means most of the darker values or shading is going to occur on the left side of the nose or just underneath the nose. Now, even though the light source is coming from the left side, doesn't mean that we need to neglect the shading that's going to happen on the left side. There still needs to be some darker values added to the left side, again to create the illusion of form. I'll continue adding value up each side of the bridge of the nose. You can see by making it darker, it's creating the illusion that the nose is protruding out. There'll also need to be some value added to the orbital recesses that are near the eyes as well. Gradually, I'll enhance the contrast and value, slowly making areas darker. Remember, it's always easier to make an area darker if you're using a dark material on a light surface than it is to go back and make areas lighter. Now, with a softer graphite pencil, I'll go back and make some areas even darker. I'll also go back and add a few marks to create the illusion of imperfections on the nose. This will add to the realism of the drawing. I can erase a few stray marks that may remain. And now my nose is complete. Now we're ready to move on to the mouth. I'll begin by drawing a line that indicates where the top lip and the bottom lip meet. For most people, this line will resemble a mashed M. In this case, the mouth I'm drawing has slightly upturned corners. Once I've defined this line, I can begin to draw a line to indicate where the top lip ends. This line may be an exaggerated version of the first line that you drew. Remember here again that no one is perfectly symmetrical, so imperfections are welcome. Once we've defined the top lip, we can begin to work on the bottom lip. In this case, I'll start from the middle and work my way to the edges. For most people, the bottom lip is going to be slightly bit thicker than the top lip. Now I'll draw cross contour lines radiating from the center line. These lines are little small cracks and imperfections on the lips. As we get closer to the center, the lines will go more up and down. It's important to add a few areas of value in between these lines to make the lips look more realistic. I'll continue with this pattern all the way across the lips. Since our light source is coming from the upper left-hand corner, the upper right-hand corner of the lips will be slightly darker. Now I'll continue to the bottom lips, and I'll repeat some of the patterning that I created on the top lips. In most situations, the upper lip is going to be darker in value, more so than the bottom lip. Keep that in mind when you're adding value and shading to the bottom lip. You don't want to get carried away and have to go back and make your top lip considerably darker. Be sure that the cross contour lines that you put on your lips do curve a little bit with the contours of the lips. If these lines become too vertical, then the illusion of form that you're creating on your lips will be lost. Next, we can address the value around the outside portion of the lips. We'll begin with the area right underneath the nose and above the mouth, which is the philtrum. Since our light source is coming from the upper left-hand corner, we'll start adding value on the upper left-hand corner of the philtrum. It will begin dark and slowly get light as it moves its way across the upper lips. We'll continue to add shading and value all around the outside portion of the lips. Remember that the light source is coming from the left side, so on the right side of our mouth, the upper portion will have slightly bit more value or darker values. Just like we did with the nose, we'll slowly build up the values, progressively letting them get darker. And here again, we can go back with the softer graphite and enhance some of the darker values. Creating this contrast makes our lips look more realistic. Just beyond the outside portion of our lips, the value becomes lighter. We'll enhance this by erasing that area out around the outside portion of our lips. Now we can carefully go back and clean up the areas around the philtrum that were erased. Now we've had a look at how to draw the nose and the mouth. In the next video, we'll take a look at the ears and the hair.